The scalpel slipped from my trembling fingers, clattering against the cold tile floor of the ER bay like a gunshot in the dead of night. "Stay with me, damn it," Dr. Alexander Hale barked, his voice a whip crack over the chaos of beeping monitors and shouting nurses, his gloved hands pressing into my chest as if he could force my heart to remember its rhythm. In that split second, as blood pooled warm and sticky beneath me, his eyes, steel gray and unyielding, locked onto mine, and I swear I saw it. A flicker, not of fear, but of something raw, something human, cracking the ice he'd built around himself like a fortress wall. I woke up to the hum of fluorescent lights and the faint scent of antiseptic mixed with stale coffee. My body a map of aches from the crash. Seattle's rain-slicked streets had betrayed me that night. A routine paramedic run turned nightmare when the ambulance hydroplaned into a guardrail. I'd been the one in the back, stabilizing a kid with a shattered femur, when everything went to hell. Now here I was, stitched up and sidelined in a hospital bed that felt more like a cage than a cure. My name's Jamie Carter, 28, and I've danced with death enough times on the job to know its steps. But this was personal. The ER doc who'd pulled me back from the edge was Alexander Hale, the ghost story whispered among first responders. Ice King. They called him brilliant, unflappable, the guy who could intubate a trauma victim blindfolded while quoting Gray's Anatomy. He didn't smile, didn't chat, didn't waste breath on small talk. Patients loved him for his skill. The staff tolerated him for it. Me? I was just another body he'd patched up. Except when he pushed through the curtain that afternoon, chart in hand, his presence hit like a thunderclap. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair cropped military short and a jawline that could cut glass. He moved like he owned the room, which, in a way, he did. "Mr. Carter," he said, voice flat as the Puget Sound on a calm day. "Vitals stable. 3 cracked ribs, contusions, mild concussion. You'll be out by evening." I shifted, wincing as fire lanced through my side. "Thanks, document OU1. Name's Jamie, by the way." He didn't look up from the chart. "Dr. Hale, rest. Don't push it." And just like that, he was gone, leaving a void that echoed louder than the monitors. But Seattle's a small world for those who chase sirens, and fate, or bad luck, kept throwing us together. 2 weeks later, I was back on shift, hauling a overdose case into Harborview's ER, when the doors swung open to Hale's domain. He was there, barking orders, his scrubs splattered with the night's grime. Our eyes met across the gurney, and for a heartbeat, the frenzy paused. "You again," he muttered, almost to himself, as he took the 4 from my hands. "Yeah, me," I shot back, forcing a grin through the adrenaline crash. "What can I say? I like the service." A ghost of something, amusement, flickered in his eyes before he shuttered it. "Focus, Carter. We've got a pulse to save." That night, after the patient stabilized, I found him in the break room, staring into a microwaved burrito like it held the secrets of the universe. I poured 2 coffees, black, no sugar, the way I'd seen him take it, and slid one across the table. "Truce? For pulling my ass out of the fire." He glanced up, surprise etching faint lines around his mouth. "You don't owe me. It's the job." "Not just the job. You stayed late that night. Checked on me twice." I'd pieced it together from the nurse's chatter. Unusual for the Ice King. He shrugged, but his fingers tightened around the mug. "Protocol." We talked, or rather I talked and he listened, about the rain that never quit in this city, the way it mirrored the ache in your bones after a long shift. About growing up in Tacoma, chasing ambulances to escape a dad who thought son meant fixer. He nodded, offered clipped responses. Med school at Johns Hopkins, residency in Boston's grind. No family mentions, no cracks in the armor. But when I cracked a dumb joke about ear docs being secret superheroes, his lips twitched. Not a full smile, but close. A thaw. Over the next month, it became a ritual. Late shifts bleeding into pre-dawn coffees. Shared silences in the hospital's rooftop garden, where the city lights blurred like distant stars. Alex. He'd let me drop the doctor after the 3rd coffee, unwound in fragments. A dry wit that snuck up on you, like his habit of humming old Springsteen tunes under his breath during codes. He was 32, gay but closeted tighter than Fort Knox, thanks to a Bible-thumping family back east who'd cut him off years ago. "It's easier this way," he'd say, eyes on the horizon. "No complications." I got it. I'd come out at 18, lost a high school sweetheart to conversion camp bullshit, but Seattle had been kind. Rainbow flags on every corner, pride parades that shut down the highways. Still, seeing Alex guard his heart like a grenade pin, it twisted something in me. I wanted to be the one to pull it free. One foggy October evening, after a multi-car pileup that left us both hollowed out, we ended up at my cramped apartment in Capitol Hill. Beers from the fridge, takeout ties scattered on the coffee table, the TV murmuring some forgettable cop show. "Why?" I asked, sprawled on the couch, close enough to feel the heat off him. He leaned back, beer bottle dangling from long fingers. "The fight, the immediacy. You can't bullshit life when it's slipping away." His gaze drifted to me, heavy. "Like you, out there in the thick of it. Reckless. Brave," I corrected, heart kicking up. The air thickened, charged like the moment before a storm breaks. I reached out, traced the vein pulsing at his wrist. He didn't pull away. "Jamie." My name was a warning, a plea. Then his mouth was on mine, tentative at first, then fierce, like he'd been starving for this and didn't know it. We kissed until the world narrowed to the scrape of stubble, the salt of sweat, hands mapping scars neither of us had shared yet. It wasn't about heat. It was revelation. In that kiss, I tasted the boy he'd buried under layers of steel. We didn't rush. Nights blurred into stolen hours. His place in Queen and all sleek lines and leather-bound books. Mine, a chaotic nest of paramedic gear and dog-eared paperbacks. He opened up in whispers. The brother who'd ratted him out to their parents. The mentor in med school who'd mentored a little too close and left him wary. I shared my fears. The what-ifs of a job that could end with one wrong turn. The loneliness that crept in after sirens faded. Love bloomed quiet, like Seattle's hidden cherry blossoms, fierce and unyielding. But winter brought shadows. Alex's family summoned him home for Christmas. Some obligatory truce in Philly, where his dad pastored a megachurch that preached, "Love the sinner, hate the sin." He went, jaw set, promising it'd be quick. "It's just acting," he said, packing his duffel. Smile, nod, survive. I waited, texts lighting up my phone like lifelines. Landed safe, missed the rain. Dinner was interrogation disguised as turkey. Then silence. Days stretched into a week, then two. When he finally called, his voice was a ghost. "I can't do this, Jamie. Not to you. Not like this." The line went dead before I could argue. Betrayal hit like a sucker punch. Not anger, but a deep, carving grief. He'd chosen the script they'd written for him, the one that kept him safe but starved. I threw myself into shifts, hauling bodies while my heart hemorrhaged. Friends dragged me to bars, to lights strung across Pike Place, but the cheer rang hollow. Alex had seen me, truly seen, and vanished like smoke. January thawed the snow but not the ice in my chest. Then, mid-blizzard shift, the radio crackled. Multivic pileup on I-5, Alex's name on the triage list. My rig screamed through the whiteout, arriving to carnage. Twisted metal, screams piercing the gale. There he was, knee-deep in it, coat shredded, blood streaking his face from a gash above his eye. Our eyes met across the wreckage, and time fractured. "Jamie," he staggered toward me, but a secondary crash rocked the scene, sending debris flying. I lunged, tackling him out of the path of a tumbling guardrail, both of us slamming into the snowbank. Pain exploded in my shoulder, but his arms locked around me, fierce. "Don't you dare," I gasped, shoving him back to check his pupils. "Not again." He gripped my collar, breath ragged. I lied. To them. To myself. I told Dad the truth, about you, about us. He disowned me on the spot, said I was dead to them. Tears carved paths through the grime on his cheeks. I ran, back to you. But the flight got canceled, so I drove. Hit this mess on the way. The confession cracked me open. Around us, sirens wailed, teams swarming like ants on the wreckage. But in that frozen bubble, it was just us, raw, exposed. Why didn't you call? Fear. Thought you'd moved on. Deserved better than my mess. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb brushing my lip. But you're the one who saw me, Jamie. The smile I forgot I had. I love you. If you'll have this fool. I pulled him close, foreheads touching. The world a blur of blue lights and shouts. Idiot. Always. We worked the scene side by side, hands brushing in the chaos. A silent vow. Later, in his ER, he stitched my dislocated shoulder while I teased him about his shaky hands. Nurses smirked, sensing the shift in the air. Alex Hale, the Ice King, cracked a full smile then, the kind that lit his whole face, warming the sterile room like sunlight. Spring came slow to Seattle, but it came. We walked the waterfront, hands linked under umbrellas, talking futures. Not grand gestures, but quiet ones. A shared lease in Fremont. Shifts synced so we could wake to coffee and each other. His family stayed a ghost, but therapy unpacked the baggage, piece by jagged piece. Mine folded him in like he'd always belonged. Barbecues with my sister, hikes in the Olympics where he'd laugh, free and unguarded. One evening, as the sun dipped low over Elliott Bay, painting the sound in fire, Alex turned to me on the pier. You saved me, you know? Not just that night in the snow. I squeezed his hand. Nah, we saved each other. In the end, it wasn't a fairy tale. No dragons slain, no crowns won. Just two men, scarred and stubborn, choosing each other in a city that rained forgiveness. And in his smile, the one he'd hidden from the world, I found my home. The rhythm of our life settled into something steady, like the reliable pulse of a monitor after a code. Alex's shifts at Harborview kept him pinned to the ER's relentless churn, while mine with the fire department pulled me into the city's underbelly. Overdoses in Belltown alleys, heart attacks in Queen and Victorians. But we carved out pockets of normalcy. Lazy Sundays at the Elliott Bay Book Company, where he'd bury his nose in a battered copy of The Great Gatsby while I sketched paramedic routes on napkins. Or drives up to Hurricane Ridge, windows down, his hand on my thigh as we chased the last gasps of summer. It wasn't all poetry, though. Alex carried his ghosts like extra weight in his pack. Nights when a patient's flatline echoed too close to his brother's overdose, the one his family blamed on lifestyle choices. He'd wake in a cold sweat, murmuring apologies to shadows. I'd hold him then, whispering nonsense about constellations until dawn. Our bodies tangled in sheets that smelled of salt air and him. You're my anchor, he'd say, voice rough with sleep, fingers tracing the tattoo on my forearm. A compass rose inked after my first solo run. It grounded me too, that ink, a reminder that direction came from within, not the chaos outside. Fall painted the Cascades in rust and gold, and with it came the hospital's annual gala, a black tie affair at the Seattle Art Museum. All crystal flutes and power couples schmoozing over auction bids for pediatric wings. Alex hated it, called it circling sharks and tuxes. But as chief resident now, he couldn't dodge the spotlight. Come with me, he said one night over pad thai. Chopsticks paused midair. As my plus one. Officially. My fork clattered to the plate. We'd been out. Quiet dinners at queer-owned spots like Le Panier, hands brushed under tables. But this? Public, in his world. You sure? That's out there. His eyes held mine steady. I'm sure. About you. About us. The night arrived crisp, the museum aglow like a jewel box. I fidgeted in my rented suit, charcoal gray, slim fit that made me feel like a kid playing dress-up, while Alex emerged from the bathroom looking like he'd stepped off a runway. His tux was midnight blue, tailored to hug his frame, a subtle pocket square in Harborview teal. Damn, I breathed, straightening his lapel. You clean up lethal. He smirked, that hidden smile breaking free. Says the guy who looks like he could charm the board into funding a new MRI. His hand lingered at my neck, thumb grazing my pulse. Ready. The ballroom hummed with Seattle's elite. Tech moguls, philanthropists, a smattering of Hollywood transplants filming indies in the rain. Heads turned as we entered, Alex's arm brushing mine in a claim subtler than words. Whispers rippled. Hale's bringing a date. A guy? He introduced me evenly. Jamie Carter, my partner. His voice carrying the weight of a gavel. I shook hands, cracked jokes about our war stories, but inside, my heart thrummed like a bass line. Then she appeared. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Alex's attending from residency, all sharp bob and sharper heels. Alexander, she purred, air kissing his cheeks, her gaze sliding to me like I'm a puzzle piece that didn't fit. Who's this? New intern. Partner, Alex corrected, jaw tightening a fraction. Jamie, Elena. She taught me everything I know about not killing patients. She laughed, a tinkling sound that grated. Charming as ever. Heard about your promotion, Chief, at 33? Your father's influence, no doubt. The barb landed soft, but it drew blood. Alex's family ties, old money from Philly's medical dynasty, had opened doors, but he'd earned every rung clawing through merit. Hardly, he replied, cool as the marble floors. Dad's more into sermons than scalpels these days. Elena's eyes narrowed, flicking to me. Well, bring your friend around more. We love fresh faces. She sauntered off, but her wake lingered, a chill in the air. Alex exhaled, squeezing my hand under the table during the keynote. Ignore her. Old grudges. But I saw it, the way his shoulders squared, armor snapping back. Later, as we bid on a sculpture, an abstract twist of metal and light, symbolic of healing fractures, a silver-haired donor cornered him. Hale, your old man's proud, I bet. That church of his real pillar. You following the cloth? Alex's smile was a blade. No, sir. Sticking to flesh and blood. The man chuckled obliviously, clapping his back, but I felt the tremor in Alex's grip. We escaped to the balcony, city lights sprawling below like a circuit board. You okay? I asked, handing him a pilfered champagne flute. He leaned on the railing, tie loosened. It's like walking a minefield. One wrong step and boom. The gay son's ruining the legacy. His voice cracked, rare vulnerability spilling out. Elena knows about Philly, probably fed the rumors. Thinks I'm a liability now. I pulled him close, chin on his shoulder. Screw him. You're the best damn doctor in this town because of you, not them. He turned, eyes searching mine in the half-light. And you? Walking into this viper pit for me? Worth it? I murmured, kissing him slow, the world fading to the taste of bubbles in him. A few gasps from inside, but we didn't care. That night, in the cab home, his head on my shoulder, I realized love wasn't just the highs. It was holding steady in the undertow. Winter gripped Seattle again, relentless as a fever. Shifts overlapped in brutal tandem. A flu surge packing the ER. My rig responding to calls that blurred into one endless night. Alex came home hollow-eyed, collapsing beside me with stories of patients lost to the crush. Elderly folks too frail for vents, kids with fevers that wouldn't break. One dawn, after an 18-hour marathon, he didn't come home. My phone buzzed at noon. Stuck at hospital. Board meeting ran long. Love you, but intuition prickled. I drove to Harborview anyway, badge getting me past security. He was in the conference room, door ajar, voice low and edged. Doc can't dictate my life, Dad. The church? Fine. Stay out of it. A pause, then the tinny reply from the speaker. You're throwing away everything, Alexander. That boy's poison, leading you down the devil's path. Resign the chief spot. Come home. We'll fix this. Silence thick as fog. Then Alex, voice steel. No. I'm done performing. Click. The line died. I slipped away before he saw, heart pounding. Betrayal? No. This was his war, one he'd fight alone if I pushed. But that night, when he crawled into bed, reeking of stress and sanitizer, I held him wordless. I heard. I whispered finally. You don't have to. I do. He propped on an elbow, face shadowed. For us. For me. He's cut me off for good this time, trust fund, connections all gone. Elena's angling for my spot already. The confession hung heavy. We'll weather it, I said, tracing his knuckles. Together. But storms don't ask permission. 2 weeks later, the axe fell. An anonymous leak to the hospital board, emails from Alex's concerned family, painting him as unstable, a risk to patients. Distraction from personal scandals, they read. Elena's fingerprints all over it, her ambition sharpened by old scores. The board called him in, investigation looming like a guillotine. He came home white-knuckled, slamming the door. They want my resignation. Say I'm a liability. Rage boiled in me. Fight it. We fight. His laugh was bitter. And drag you into the tabloids. Our hero dates disgraced Doc? No. I step down, we move on. Move on. The word tasted like ash. This is betrayal, Alex. From them, from her. Don't let it win. He paced, a caged wolf. It's not just them. It's me, always running, always hiding. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am broken. The room spun. Don't you dare. You're not broken. You're the man who smiles at 3 a.m. coffees, who holds me after the worst calls. That's not weakness, that's strength. He stopped, eyes glistening. Then help me be strong. Stay even if I fall. We crashed together then, not in passion, but desperation. Lips bruised, tears mingling, reaffirming what words couldn't. But dawn brought reality. His resignation drafted, Elena's smug email congratulating him on new opportunities. Climax brewed in the ER's belly. A mass casualty, ferry collision in the Sound, victims flooding in like a biblical tide. Alex, demoted but defiant, dove in, directing chaos with the precision of a maestro. I was there, triaging on the docks, our worlds colliding in salt spray and screams. Then it happened. Elena, overseeing, barked an order that misrouted a critical patient, prioritizing a VIP board member's yacht buddy over a trapped crewman. Seconds mattered. Alex overrode her, voice thunder. Wrong call. Get the kid first. He's crashing. She whirled, venomous. You lost your authority, Hale. Back off. He didn't. Shoving past, he intubated the boy on scene, hands steady as I stabilized the line. The crewman lived, barely, but Elena's report flew. Insubordination. Endangering protocol. The board convened emergency session. Alex faced them alone, suit rumpled, eyes burning. She nearly killed that kid for optics. I saved him. Fire me if you must, but don't let ambition bury truth. I waited outside, fists clenched, the hospital's hum a dirge. When he emerged, expression unreadable, my stomach dropped. The boardroom door swung open, and Alex stepped out like a man who'd stared down a firing squad and walked away whistling. His tie was askew, sleeves rolled to elbows, but there was fire in his stride, a blaze I'd only glimpsed in stolen moments. They suspended her, he said, voice low but laced with triumph. Full probe. I'm cleared, reinstated, even. Chief stays mine. Relief crashed over me, hot and dizzying. I pulled him into a hug right there in the sterile hallway, ignoring the double takes from passing interns. Knew you would. Badasses like you don't fold. He laughed. A real one, rumbling from his chest, and for a moment the weight lifted. But shadows lingered in his eyes. It cost Jamie. Dad's lawyer called during, threatened to go public, smear the hospital. I told him to go to hell. We retreated to the rooftop, the city a glittering apology below, fairies cutting wakes like silver threads. Wind whipped his hair, and he leaned into me, vulnerable. I almost lost it all, because I couldn't hide anymore. You didn't lose, I murmured, arms around his waist. You chose. That choice rippled outward. News of the ferry save hit the local feeds. King 5 running a segment on ER Hero Defies Odds. Pixelating the kid's face but zooming on Alex's bloodied scrubs. Pride swelled in me, but so did worry. Visibility meant vulnerability. Sure enough, the family struck back. A blistering op-ed in the Seattle Times from his father. modern medicine's moral decay. When doctors play God over gospel. Subtle digs at deviant influences in the thinly veiled shots at us. Alex read it at breakfast, fork paused over eggs. Classic. Guilt wrapped in scripture. Block the number, I said, sliding him my phone for a distraction. Photos from our last hike, him mid-laugh with mud on his boots. Or better, let's make our own news. He arched a brow, intrigued. Like, volunteer run. That LGBTQ youth center in Capitol Hill, they need medics for their health fair. You in? His smile bloomed, slow and sweet. Yeah, I'm in. The fair was a riot of color. Rainbow booths hawking zines and zero-proof cocktails, drag queens emceeing talent shows, kids with fresh piercings clutching free STI kits. Alex, in jeans and a faded Hopkins tee, set up a mock trauma station, teaching basic CPR with a patience that melted the teen's wariness. I caught him kneeling beside a shy 16-year-old, voice gentle. Hey, it's okay to ask. That scar, battle wound, makes you tougher. The boy, name tag read Riley, blushed, mumbling about a bad breakup. Alex nodded, no judgment. Love's a beast, but it finds you again. Stick around. It'll surprise you. Watching them, my throat tightened. This was Alex unmasked, human, healing not just bodies but the invisible wounds. Later, as we packed up, Riley shyly handed him a doodle. 2 stick figures with stethoscopes, hearts over heads. Thanks, document, for seeing me. Alex pinned it to his locker the next day, a talisman against the storm. But storms escalate. February brought a subpoena, his father's lawsuit against the hospital, alleging hostile work environment due to Alex's personal conduct, fostering negligence. Elena, under investigation, flipped, testifying in deposition that Alex's distractions, read me, compromised care. Tabloids sniffed blood. Philly preacher sues Seattle ER over son's lifestyle. The city divided. Protests erupted outside Harborview. Pride allies chanting, "Love is the protocol," countered by church groups with bullhorns and signs. God heals, sin kills. Alex fielded death threats, his phone a minefield. I took to sleeping with one eye open, pistol in the nightstand. One night, after a brick shattered our living room window, Sinner scrawled in red paint, he shattered too. We sat amid the glass, shards glinting like accusations. This is on me, he whispered, head in hands. Dragging you into my war. Bullshit. I knelt before him, forcing his gaze. This is on them, bigots too scared of love to let it breathe. We're not the villains here. He searched my face, doubt warring with fire. What if we lose? The job, the life, everything. Then we rebuild. In Portland or bumfuck nowhere, Wyoming. As long as it's us. I kissed his knuckles, bruised from clenching. You're worth the fight, Alex Hale. He pulled me up, embrace fierce. So are you. God, Jamie. How'd I get this lucky? We cleaned the mess by flashlight, laughing grimly at the absurdity, then made love slow and deliberate, reclaiming our space, our skin. Dawn found us entwined, his heartbeat sinking mine, a quiet rebellion. The trial loomed in March, a circus in King County Superior Court. Alex testified first, voice steady as he dismantled the claims. Patient outcomes under his watch, charts proving Elena's errors, emails exposing her collusion with his father. This isn't about medicine, he said, eyes on the judge. It's about control. My father's trying to erase who I am because he can't accept it. The gallery murmured, reporters scribbling, allies nodding. His dad took the stand next, silver-tongued in a crisp suit, spinning tales of a wayward son, led astray by urban vices. I only want to save him, he intoned, eyes glassy with practiced tears. From himself. I sat in the back, fists balled, until Alex's gaze found mine, a lifeline across the oak benches. When the gavel fell, case dismissed, sanctions on the plaintiffs for frivolous suit, the courtroom erupted. Alex met me in the hall, crushing me in a hug that drew flashes from cameras. It's over, he breathed. We won. Not over, I corrected, grinning. Just beginning. Spring unfurled triumphant. The hospital threw a low-key party. Craft beers in the courtyard. Toasts to the doc who doctored his own drama. Elena resigned in disgrace, her license under review. Alex's dad faded to radio silence. A hollow victory that stung less with time. We celebrated privately. A weekend cabin in the San Juans, ferry ride at sunset, no cell service to tether us. Hiking mossy trails, he opened up about the boy he'd been. Closeted crushes in prep school. The first kiss stolen in a Philly alley that ended in fists. Thought love was a trap, he admitted, skipping stones across a glassy cove. Till you. I tossed one back, splashing him. Trap? Nah, adventure. That night, under stars sharp as diamonds, he proposed. Not with rings or knees bent, but words. Build a life with me, Jamie. Messy, real, forever. Tears pricked. Yes, 1,000 times. Summer hummed in, alive with possibility. We moved to a craftsman in Wallingford. Room for a garden, a dog, a scruffy mutt named Pulse, space to breathe. Alex mentored at the youth center weekly, his smile no longer hidden but a beacon. I wrote op-eds for The Stranger, sharing our story anonymized. Ripples of hope for others in the trenches. One August evening, as the sun bled orange over the sound, we stood on our porch, Pulse snoring at our feet. Remember that first coffee? I asked, arm around his waist. He chuckled, head on my shoulder. You talked my ear off. Thought, this guy's trouble. Best kind. I turned, kissing him soft. In his eyes, I saw it all. The cold Dr. thawed. The smile unveiled. The man who'd chosen light over legacy. Life wasn't perfect. Shifts still clashed. Arguments flared over laundry and lost keys. But in the quiet beats, the stolen glances, we found grace. Seattle's rain washed clean the scars, and in each other's arms we healed. Not despite the breaks, but because of them. Autumn leaves crunched underfoot as we navigated the farmer's market in Fremont. Alex haggling over heirloom apples while I eyed the artisanal cheeses. It was mundane magic, baskets overflowing. His laughter drawing stares not of judgment, but quiet approval. A year since the trial, and the city's pulse had synced with ours. Murals of intertwined hands popping up on alley walls. A New York Times profile dubbing Alex the ER's unlikely advocate. But peace is fragile, and cracks spiderwebbed in unexpected places. A letter arrived one gray November morning, handwritten, postmarked Philly. Alex slid it open over coffee, face draining of color. It's from Mom. I set my mug down, gut twisting. She'd been a phantom, silent through the storm. What did she say? He scanned, voice hollow. Apology, sort of. Your father means well. We're praying for you. Come home for Thanksgiving alone. Leave the sin behind. A pause. Then, the church needs a new youth pastor. Your degree qualifies. The offer hung like a noose. Alex folded the paper, eyes distant. She thinks it's a truce. Is it? I asked, careful. We danced this edge before. Family as siren call. He met my gaze, resolute. No, it's a cage with better lighting. But doubt lingered, a shadow in his laugh that week. Shifts ramped up with flu season's fury, pulling us apart. I ran a call on a bridge jumper, 22, notes citing unlovable, and came home shaking, Alex's arms my harbor. He confided a patient story, an elder coming out on his deathbed, regrets spilling like blood. Makes you think? He murmured, tracing my collarbone. About time we don't waste. Thanksgiving loomed, our invite to my sisters in Tacoma a warm counterpoint. We prepped, turkey brining, pie crusts flaking, turning our kitchen into a flour-dusted war zone. But the letter gnawed. Eve of the holiday, as rain lashed the windows, Alex paced. What if I go? One dinner. Show them I'm fine, then bail. Jealousy flickered, sharp. And me? Chopped liver. He stopped, cupping my face. Never. But closure, Jamie. For the kid in me who just wanted Dad's nod. I swallowed hard. Go. But come back. To this. I gestured us the life we'd forged. He kissed me fierce. Always. Philly swallowed him for 36 hours. Texts trickled. Flight smooth. Miss you. Then, dinner tense. Survived. Radio silence on Thanksgiving proper. My imagination a torture chamber. My family gathered without him. Mom's stuffing, sister's bad puns. But I picked at my plate. Phone a talisman. He landed at midnight. Taxi pulling up as I paced the porch. Exhaustion etched his face, but his eyes, alive, unbowed. It was a setup, he said, dropping his bag. Dad cornered me post-prayers. Renounce it all, son. Get help. Mom cried, but wouldn't intervene. I walked out mid-pie. Relief warred with ache. Proud of you. Inside, over cold turkey sandwiches, he unpacked it. The barbs, the Bible verses flung like grenades. Told them about the youth center, the kids I help. Dad called it recruiting. I said, no, saving. His voice cracked. Missed you. Needed you. We made love then. Urgent and tender. Bodies affirming what words couldn't erase. Dawn brought clarity. A return address burned. A final email from him. I choose love. Over legacy. Over lies. No reply came. Winter solstice brought snow. Rare and blanketing. Turning Seattle into a hush. We volunteered at the youth center's holiday drive. Sorting toys. Alex in a Santa hat that made him look adorably ridiculous. Riley, now out and proud, cornered him. Heard about your fam sucks. But, you're my hero anyway. Alex ruffled his hair. Nah, you're the brave one. New Year's Eve. We rang it in low key. Rooftop of our building, champagne fizzing, city fireworks blooming like promises. Resolutions. I asked, clinking glasses. He thought, snowflakes catching in his lashes. More smiles. Out loud. Then serious. Marry me? For real this time. Rings, vows, the works. Heart full, I nodded. Thought you'd never ask. Spring wedding planning wove through our chaos. Simple, at a waterfront chapel in Ballard. Officiant a queer rabbi with a wicked sense of humor. Invites went to the center kids, hospital crew, my sprawling found family. Alex's side? Empty chairs, but we filled them with photos. Old ones of him grinning boyish, new of us intertwined. The day dawned brilliant, sun shattering off the sound. I waited at the altar, nerves electric. As Alex walked the aisle, navy suit, eyes locked on mine. That hidden smile now a sunrise. Vows exchanged. In sickness, in health, in sirens and silence. Rings slid on, simple bands, engraved with compass points. Reception spilled onto the dock. Food trucks slinging lobster rolls. A playlist of Springsteen and Chappell Roan. Toasts flowed. My best friend ribbing my soft underbelly. A nurse recounting Alex's first thaw. As dusk fell, we danced slow to Thunder Road. His cheek against mine. Happy? He whispered. Beyond. Fireworks cracked overhead, mirroring the burst in my chest. Years folded like well-worn pages. Alex climbed to department head, pioneering a LGBTQ competency program that rippled nationwide. I shifted to training new paramedics, passing the torch. Pulse grew gray-muzzled, chasing squirrels in golden gardens. We adopted a second dog, mentored foster kids, traveled New Orleans jazz funerals, NYC pride floats. Betrayals faded to footnotes, conflicts to character. His family, a Christmas card once, and signed, but he burned it with a shrug. Their loss. One crisp October, a decade in, we revisited the ER rooftop. Hairs graying at temples, lines etched from laughter more than loss. Still see it? I asked, nodding to his smile. He grinned, pulling me close. Every day. In you. In the end, our story wasn't epic triumph or tragic fall, but humanistic quietude. Two men, American as apple pie and endless highways, who found in each other the courage to thaw, to love without apology. Seattle's rain fell soft, washing the world clean, and in its rhythm, we thrived. Not despite the cold, but because we'd warmed it together.